Hi, my name's Andy Rhodes. I'm the Service Director for Oscar Kilo, the National Police Wellbeing Service. I'm here to do a brief introduction to set the scene for the film that you're about to watch, that we've constructed using a range of different sets of data that capture the voice of over 36,000 people who work in various different roles around policing. This data has been gathered from our annual survey, and it's important that we use this video to learn from the feedback that people are giving us about the sort of things that are affecting them in their workplace on a day-to-day basis. You'll see things in there around fatigue, trauma exposure, bureaucracy, the importance of line management, and you'll also see things in there that probably will remind you of some of your experiences or things that you are thinking about if you haven't yet deployed into policing. Why is this important? It's important because at an individual level, we can raise our own self-awareness about these issues so that we can spot the signs early. So quite often we will normalise these things and not see that cumulatively they are starting to have an impact on us. So that's really important. And that's why the whole film is facilitated by an experienced psychotherapist and trainer, Alexis Powell-Howard. This is somebody who has vast experience of working in policing and has already been working with Oscar Kilo to do the Keeping the Peace podcasts. The second thing that this film is really important for is the leadership of the service, people who are managers and supervisors at every level, because it helps them to bridge the gap between their experience of work and what people are saying is different for them when they're in the front line or in offices doing their job on a day-to-day basis, because sometimes we can feel removed from that, and people often report that we are not connected to their experience of work enough. So the film has been done for you, it's been done by you because it's informed by your voice, and I will say no more other than take the film as you see it, and hopefully this will have a really positive impact on you in terms of your role in policing so that you can stay healthy and do a great job for the public and also look after yourself and your families. Thanks very much.
Hi, my name's Alexis Powell-Howard and I'm a psychotherapist and trainer experienced in working with police officers and police staff. This film is brought to you by Oscar Kilo. The reason this film has been produced is because in 2020, of the 22,000 people who responded to the Oscar Kilo survey, 64% of officers and 55% of police staff reported experiencing post-traumatic stress symptoms. As we all know, the work undertaken by police officers and police staff is incredibly valuable, and it's essential that we do everything we can to protect you and to help to protect yourselves. I'm going to show you a short and very powerful and at times distressing film based on real life experiences of working police officers. The film demonstrates just what I'm talking about. Some of what's in this film may resonate with you, so this is a kind of health warning before you watch it. At the end, I'll come back and break down what we've seen into some hopefully helpful themes and be able to direct you to information if you're affected by anything you've seen.
It's not right for me. Yeah? Don't forget, you understand? You know what you made me do? You know what you made me do? You're breathing for yourself. Yeah.
Mummy? You okay?
Yeah. I'm fine, Alfie.
back to bed. You don't need to worry, Alfie. Come on. Go back to bed and get some sleep.
Alfie. Smile.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. That's great. Thank you.
See a picture.
Come on then, show us your warrant card. Show us your warrant card. Show us your warrant card.
I don't have to. You can see I'm in uniform.
You ain't got one, have you, boss? Have you?
Can you put that down, please?
No, you won't. Not until you show us your warrant card, officer.
Right, you stop. It's Doug, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come over here. Might not remember, but we've had dealings before. Go on. You'll be okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
What you got in here then? What is this?
My mum gave me that when I was a kid.
And you've still got it.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Sentimental value.
And chicken mayo sandwich. What are you doing?
Have my sandwich.
Well, no, you're not. Come on, jump in. You've got a job.
Stop there! Stop! Stay there. Being arrested on suspicion of theft, put your hands behind your back. You all right?
Yeah.
You do not have to say anything, but may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence.
035, Tolson grade 1 to Bidston Road, male with a knife.
Received.
What of you? Get out my house!
I will get out your house as soon as you put the knife down. And no one needs to get hurt here. Right, come on, come on, come on. I'm here to help. Just talk to me. What's your name?
Clem.
Put the knife down, Clem.
It's okay. It's okay, you don't need to worry now. You're safe. It's okay. Right, you're okay, you're okay. Nothing else bad is gonna happen to you. Right, I'm here to help. You can trust me, yeah? Come on. That's it. There we go. You're okay, come on.
You okay?
Yeah. I'm fine.
Sorry, can you stop there, please? Sorry, mate. Can you please stop there?
We need to sort this tap out. Alfie,
I heard you.
what do you think? Should we get a plumber in, or...?
No. I'll do it.
Oh, it's no problem to
I
get...
said I'd do it.
I'll go see to the baby.
Morning. Morning. Alfie, are you okay?
Sorry. Morning. Where were you when the attack happened?
Mate, I've told you now about 50 times it happened at the park, side of the toilets, kids' playground.
Are you injured?
Am I injured? Of course I'm injured. Hit me with a bat. Want to see the bruising, eh? Look at that. Is that bag enough for you?
Just put your top down.
You can't look at it, can you?
Put your top down.
You don't need to worry, Alfie. Come on. Go back to bed and sleep.
Alfie, you okay? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Why did you join up?
What?
Why did you want to become a police officer?
What's that got to do with anything?
Just think about it.
Yeah, right. Look, I've got to go. I'll catch you later, yeah?
You don't need to worry, Alfie.
Why did you want to become a police officer?
Go back to bed. Get some sleep. You don't need to worry, Alfie.
Why did you join up? Why did you want to become a police officer?
Hi, Jeannie. I've been thinking about what you asked me. Can we have a chat?
How's sleeping been feeling? How's that feeling?
I've got better control over that now. I think I'm kind of worked out, to take time for myself.
Yeah?
As I said, a really powerful film, and I'm sure there's elements in this film that you can all relate to. This is what police officers and police staff are dealing with every day, 24 hours a day, every day of the year. Within this film, I want to raise some of the key themes that we've seen. There's a reason why you've picked the profession you've picked to go into. Policing can be very much linked to our experiences, and what we're searching for in our careers can be very much about wanting to be connected to something that's important and is full of purpose, hence the name of this film. In the opening scenes, we see Alfie growing up in a house where there's domestic abuse. And we see throughout the film there are times when Alfie is quite triggered and is taken back to some of those experiences, especially when he's dealing with aggression and violence. In one incident where he's assaulted, we see that really impacts on him, and it's something that sadly isn't uncommon for officers. Alfie is showing signs of trauma responses. And in training, when we're delivering and talking about trauma, we often talk about adverse childhood experiences, and I'm sure all of you have sat through some training around those themes, shortened to the term ACEs. And we know that the more adverse childhood experiences we have affect our outcomes in adulthood. It also affects our health, our longevity, and this is down to the toxic stress that's caused by these experiences. In the different incidences that we see, especially the knife incident, which is potentially inherently traumatic due to the risk of attack and injury, there would ideally be a debrief. But we all know operationally that doesn't happen as much as it maybe could do. We see Alfie's reaction to Doug throughout the film, even his reaction to Doug showing him his bruises, which potentially could be triggering having lived in a home growing up where there was domestic abuse. When dealing with these kinds of incidences, regularly there can be a build-up of stress, and officers often describe having a box or several boxes in their heads where they pack away those different experiences, and unfortunately at some point, as they accumulate those stressful situations and feelings and responses over the period of time they're a police officer, those boxes can start to overflow, and the lids that might be very tightly shut can start to open, and some of those feelings and experiences will start to seep out of those boxes, and it can become very difficult then to cope when you can't put the lid back on. So understanding what's in the box and being able to unpack it and think about it can sometimes be really helpful, even if it's just a couple of those things, just to be able to keep that level a bit further down. When you're struggling to put that lid back on, the problem is that we no longer have what protects us from avoiding those feelings and feeling triggered by what's going on around us. And we can feel emotional, and we might see all sorts of different types of behaviours that spill out into work life, but also into home life. When we think about stressors, we can see with Alfie, there's several things going on in his life. And in mental health terms, we always think about the areas of life where things are being affected. In Alfie's life, he has a new beginning. So, he's moving house. We see him moving house. We see his partner. We see them having a baby. He has new responsibilities. We see that he's going to be a dad himself, which again might be something that may be causing him some worries and some difficulties. And we see his capacity begin to reduce. Work-related stressors, there's plenty of them, you know, in the job that you do. For Alfie, his job is potentially making him vulnerable. And this is something that he is driven to do, but maybe is more vulnerable because of his experiences. So he's learning to be a new recruit. He's learning the job. He's learning how to manage incidences of aggression and assault, right through to the girl in the garage who is upset and obviously hiding. And he's trying to process these responses and process these experiences as he goes through. In terms of the symptoms that we see him being quite snappy at home. He's definitely snappy about the plumbing and the dripping tap when he's asked to fix it. Now that could be related to maybe financial stresses. He doesn't, maybe know how to fix it. He maybe can't afford a plumber. It could be because it's just that irritant that's going on in his mind all the time. He's distant at work, and we see that where he's not responsive to his supervisor. So he has a tutor constable and who's very supportive and is recognising that he might not be coping, but he's quite distant and he doesn't want to speak to her. We also see his sleep is very disturbed, and we are beginning to see signs of fatigue, and that's impacting on his levels of capacity throughout the day. So when we're thinking about all these different themes that we're seeing in the film, what can help? The best question to ask is who can help? We see Alfie having some really good supervision. His supervisor is checking in with him, is recognising the signs and symptoms, is asking him purposeful questions. And Alfie is trying to figure out where he's positioning himself in this. The tutor is looking to stretch him, so is putting him in situations which she knows will be challenging for him, but also knows he needs to learn how to respond in those circumstances. We see Alfie begin to write the email a couple of times stating that I realise the job just isn't what I was expecting. It's almost as if Jane has received that email, which obviously she hasn't because he hasn't sent it. And when she asks the question, why did you join up, Alfie? We start to see that she's getting to the nub of the reason why he's there and the reason he trained in the first place. This is a really helpful intervention. It's challenging, it's reflective, but she's also not taking too much responsibility for him and allowing him some space to go away and think about that. From her own experiences, she knows how to cut through the noise that's in his head. And that's what we're seeing through the film is noise. Lots of noise going round and around, and him trying to figure out how he does this role as a police officer and how he integrates that into his identity. Fundamentally, what's his purpose? What drove him to take on this role? When we look at his relationship with Janie, we can see that there's trust beginning to build, that she's available for him to ask for help, that she's opening up the options to have conversations, and that she is supporting him with coping and also finding his purpose. So he has a really good relationship with Janie. She stretches him in the work that he's doing, and she reassures him, especially when he's in the house where there's the dead body. She lets him go and experience that, and she lets him know that she's right there. She encourages him to go and do those kinds of parts of the job just to be able to make sure that he's getting as much experience as possible. And we can see that Alfie is building in confidence in difficult situations. And towards the end of the film, we definitely see that he's starting to find his stride, he's starting to feel more confident in his role. Something else to consider is about resiliency. And we use the word resiliency a lot. It's part of the Blue Light framework. It's something that we talk about in mental health training. And resiliency essentially is about the ability to bounce back. And we do see Alfie bounce back in the film. Towards the end, he actually connects with why he's doing what he's doing. And we see him dealing with somebody who's obviously called out the police due to a domestic abuse incident. But there's a lot more that Alfie could be doing to look after himself, whether that's about taking time out for himself, managing his sleep differently, talking to his supervisor. He could be managing his nutrition, recognising the triggers and the impacts of some of the experiences that are having on his life, and also thinking about how that's impacting on him when he's at home. One of the key themes that we see in the film throughout is Alfie struggling with sleep. In 2020, in the Oscar Kilo survey, we see that 29% of police officers and 23.5% of police staff report extremely high levels of fatigue. Now, fatigue can be very transient. It can be something that affects you if you've had an extreme restriction of sleep or extended hours being awake over a 1 or 2 day period. But there can also be a cumulative effect. And we see this following repeated mild sleep restrictions. It could be due to shift work. It can be due to having a baby in the house. There can be all sorts of reasons as to why we maybe don't get enough sleep. But those extended hours of being awake across a series of days means that we can start to see that cumulative impact of fatigue. And there are lots of different symptoms that we're seeing in Alfie that would demonstrate that he is struggling with fatigue. Now, there are some things that Alfie could do to make some changes to his circadian rhythm. Now, your circadian rhythm is a 24-hour cycle which keeps that body's internal clock going. It's running in the background all the time, and it carries out essential functions and processes that we all need. One of the most common talked about circadian rhythms is the sleep cycle, the sleep and wake cycle. And we see Alfie trying to sleep in the day where there's lots of things he could do to his environment to be able to help that to become a more comfortable place to sleep. When properly aligned, the circadian rhythm can promote consistent and restorative sleep. But when this is thrown off, it can create all sorts of different sleep problems, including insomnia. Now, when we look at Alfie's room, it's very light. He doesn't have any blackout blinds, he doesn't wear an eye mask, he's not wearing any hearing buds, and these are all things that can help him to aid his sleep, especially during the day. These are all sleep hygiene factors, things that he can do to strip back what he needs to do in order to be able to go to sleep. So he might be affected by his diet, his nutrition. He could be drinking lots of coffee or caffeine. He might be eating lots of sugar. All of these things can affect how we sleep. And also, we see that he has a baby too, so that will obviously be impacting too. Another thing we don't see is that there isn't any fun anywhere. You know, everything's very serious, everything is very heavy, whether that's at work or at home, even though there's some really great things happening in both of those places. Accessing his support network, talking, being socially connected is so important for our well-being, and we know that from the research that we are social beings, we need to be connected. Alfie's life feels very serious for him and at work and at home, and we only start to see his mood lift and improve when he actually starts to talk about how he's feeling. Other ideas he could implement are things around regular exercise, ensuring that he is taking enough time to rest and recover, and finding ways to be able to actually help himself to not be overthinking. So that might be using different meditation techniques, using mindfulness. He could be using thought records to be able to manage those ways of thinking. But what we want to do is reduce that drip, drip, drip effect so that that sense of overflow doesn't happen. You know, if the more we look after ourselves, the more we put in place, the less that happens, the more our capacity increases. We see Alfie being affected by several things and being triggered by several things on the job. One of them being assaulted. It's completely unacceptable to be assaulted whilst you're working. And you're absolutely encouraged to report those assaults to the live operation called Operation Hampshire. Operation Hampshire is about dealing with those crimes and how they are recorded and subsequently processed. There are over 100 of those a day reported at the moment. When we're thinking about purpose, in the last scene, it links directly to the first scene that we saw where Alfie was at home. We see that he's called to an incident and he knocks on the door and the lady comes to the door with a black eye. And even though his own experiences have been difficult for him, this directly links to the reason why he became a police officer. I guess one of the questions for you on reflection is, you know, what does work mean to you? What's the link as to the reason why you became a cop? Or there might be several different reasons, or a member of the police staff. So what is your purpose? being in the police service can become part of your identity and is connected to what your life stands for. There is an awful lot of information on the Oscar Kilo website, and there's a whole teams of people who are pulling together resources, great resources, to help you. Oscar Kilo are the National Police Wellbeing Service, and they are invested and passionate about making sure that you have everything you need in order to be able to do the job as well as you can and to keep you as well as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the film has given you some things for reflection and some insights into different aspects of policing that can impact on you and also on your colleagues, and I hope it's been helpful.